Hello and welcome to Divine Horses and Humans. I'm Jason Divine and this is Palida. This is Palida's playlist. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put playlists together of each horse that's in this yard. First off, I'm going to tell you, we're not $1 million yard. We haven't got $1 million horses. We haven't got $1 million inside sand skull. We don't use spurs, we don't use whips, we don't use bits really. We are grassroots groundwork, what you would call, I'm going to say, natural horsemanship, but don't tell the equine committee because so what makes me the expert? I'm not an expert. This is my hobby, this is my passion, this is my lifestyle, this is what I do. And I am going to share my philosophies and my theories of working with horses, the way that I work with horses. Because there's this different way. I've worked in the British equine world for a decade and a half. No longer will work in it. Had horses around for 2.5 decades. And the reason I went back to work with horses was for my mental health. I ended up in a car accident in 1999-2000 where I ended up with PTSD and bipolar. And they wanted to put me on medication drugs and I was like, no, I'm not having that. I'm not taking that. And I'll tell you why I wouldn't take medication. Because when I was 5, 6, 7, my mum tried to quit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word, but tried to finish her life, end her life with prescribed drugs and mother's ruined gin. And that's the first sort of childhood memories I've really got. And I didn't want to open up a can of worms and for me to end up taking the same path. But that did happen later on in my life. That wasn't so long ago. But we'll talk about that at a later date. It was these animals here that kept me hanging on. Because I don't really trust humans. I think a lot of humans tell you what they want you to hear, what you expect. They use you. Where horses, there's a loyalty. And if you start working as a team with them, they become very loyal to you and you become like the leader, and that's through empathy. Empathy is a key quality of leadership. So empathy comes from, right, so I mentioned that I got PTSD. So PTSD creates hyper-awareness. Complex PTSD, that's striatal trauma, creates hyper-awareness. Now, that's what I've got as well, and I found that out quite recently. So this gives you a huge advantage to work with horses because horses are hyper aware. So if you look at Palida here, when Palida came here, you couldn't do that. You couldn't touch her on the ears, you couldn't touch her on the nose. She'd had a tough life with some human or humans. So let's get it right. You don't get horses with horse problems, you get horses that have got a problem with a human being or human beings, yeah? We got into their life, they didn't get into ours, right? So if anybody says, oh, can you help me with my horse, I've got a horse problem, I'm like, right, okay, then what's your problem with them? And 9 times out of 10, it's because they don't know how to communicate with them and they don't understand that they're a flight animal, they're a prey animal, we're a predator, right? And they're jacked with a thing called cortisol. And cortisol is what floods your body when you're in a flight or fight. So you're either gonna run, yeah, or freeze, or you're gonna fight them, right? That's what floods your body. And I've been through all stages of them from a kid. I've been on cortisol since I was 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can come addicted to it. You can come addicted to it, but the best way to get rid of it is to move your feet. You can sweat it out your pores, so training hard you can get rid of it, but the best medicine for any kind of mental health problem is to move your feet. Get and do something. Yeah? Get out of the house. Get out of the city, the town. Go out in the countryside. And this is what I want to show. And I've got these theories and these philosophies that horses can rewire your brain, because you have to be very, very switched on about what you're thinking and what you're feeling to what you project out in your body language. Because they read body language like, yeah, it's like you're writing them a letter almost, yeah? And that's the key to it, because that's how they move each other around, is body language. And said, if you go and like watch the playlist like body language, horse body language, you'll see them interact and what goes on. And I sort of try and narrate it, but you tell me what you see. And as I said, that's the whole point of this. I'm looking for like-minded people that are empathetic to my lifestyle, empathetic to horses, and looking for something a little bit different, because I am different, because I'm Generation X, I'm 55 years old, plus I've lived a life. Believe me, I have lived a life. And I believe life is mountains and valleys. I believe for every high you have to go on a low. You can't stay on this high, and that's what they sort of sell on the internet, that there's this ultimate high, this ultimate happiness that you buy, and I think it's a load of BS. I think, you know, there has to be yin and yang. That's a perfect example. There has to be, from the dark black, there has to be white, and that's the only way I can sort of put it. From negative, there has to be a positive. Sadness to happiness, yeah. I think that's how life, well, that's how my life works. And you have to be very switched on with those emotions with horses. And that's what they can teach you. Because, you know, I'm severely dyslexic, right? Okay, so for me to step into this is adversity for me. This is making myself uncomfortable to become more comfortable, trying to work the internet, because I'm very, very dyslexic. I can hardly, well, I can read, but I can't write, I can't spell. So it bails me out of this, but I can sit here and do this, and, you know, people are going to drop comments and that. And that's the thing, if you drop like a negative comment, that just reflects onto you. That's a mirror image of you. Because you cannot give a comment on, this is my lifestyle, this is my life. There's only one of me, like there's only one of you. And it's like, you know, fear. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of doing anything. And horses are full of it. But if we get full of it, they become even more fearful, and they will win. Look at the size of them. They can do you an awful lot of damage. So that's what we're all about a little bit. As I said, at the moment, it's mud up to our eyeballs, more mud. We're not $1 million yard, we ain't got no $1 million horses, we ain't got no $1 million inside lit sand skull. It's bare bones, grassroots, 101 horseman stuff, yeah? My horses are dirty, they're free range, they only come in a box to eat, and, you know, and you're gonna see that. And I said, at the moment, because we're in this off season, as I put it, because I have an on season with them and an off season, we only train from like the end of February, the beginning of March, through to September, the end of September, maybe October. And then they get to be horses. They just get to be horses. And I think that's another problem in the British equine world. They just keep going at it. They don't have an off season and on season. Football has one, cricket has one, Formula One has one, and so many more sports. So why is it not in the horse world? It may be at a higher level, but the lower levels of it, they just keep going at it. And I've witnessed so many horses being destroyed because of it, basically. And that's the other thing I'm going to talk about, stories within me working in the British equine world of things I've experienced. So it's going to be a bit diverse, a bit all over the place, unscripted, straight cut editing. It's nothing going to be fancy about it, but that's who I am. But I know who I am, and I like who I am, and I just have to learn to deal with this hyper awareness that I'm suffering with at the moment, and the anxiety that I get at the moment. But like as I said, I can remember that this sort of feeling been in me all of my life. And I think I suppressed it a lot with illegal substances and alcohol. And I gave all that up 16 years ago, sober 16 years. Anyway, at that, I'm going to start waffling on. Like, comment, subscribe, run and tell a friend, share, drop a comment. Don't forget to click on the bell icon so you get notifications. And I'm going to say it, I'll catch you on the flip side, but I ain't going to say it. I'll see you in the next one.